It's a legacy script type. So this means pay to public key. So in this bit, we didn't see any hashing. So it was more, you pick your hash, then you push the 65 bits, and then you do an object sync. So it was as simple as that. And then we advanced now into the deeper level where we had pay to public key hash, whereby we introduced a hash into the transaction. It's fully now. So whereby you're seeing this hash. So previously we didn't have the hash. So this added extra security in that now you can't like easily crack from public key to private. So we have something called the RIPMED 160. So you add it on top of the SHA-256 encryption, and you can see it's op hash 160. And then you do the op push bit. And the benefit of hashing means your bits were reduced. So the first one you're seeing it was at 65. That was the length. It was such a lengthy, like you've got a lengthy public key. But now with the public key hash, your hash became much more reduced. Like it was a lighter, simpler hash. And then it evolved. So this is now what we call a legacy. And then it evolved to, okay, these are types of the legacy, but let me skip. So there's another one that's called pay to script hash, whereby you're just hashing directly. So you have your hash, then you push the 20 bits, and then the data you're hashing, then you op equal. Op equal usually verifies whether what you input and what you're putting, whether they match. So for those who know about checksums, so when you do scripts, you're kind of doing the same thing, similar thing. You always have to verify the data. And then there's a time Bitcoin activated Segwit, and there was the pay to witness. Yeah, pay to witness script hash. And here we are seeing it's now at 32 bits, it's more compressed, but then it's more secure. So in order to access these resources, just go to learn me a Bitcoin. You should follow up on where we are. So how this works, let's see the example. So let's try and generate one. So we have a random text, and then here we are passing the scripts. So you have the op duplicate, the op hash, and then the op push bit. So here we show the address. So this is how the address looks. And then you have something called base 58. Base 58 basically, you put it on top of your hash to make it more human readable. So it's hard for you to cram this bit, like this section. Because it's just numbers. Yeah, so like this bit, it's hard for a human to like Okay, there are some who can memorize this, but now it's much more readable when you have this, like it's more human friendly. So we dealing with your own, like the actual public key. So that's a basic okay, that's a basic construct of how an address comes to be. I don't know if there's any questions.
Sorry, maybe I'm not an expert in the technicalities, but you said something about like the encryption after it had been encrypted, it was less of space. Yes, the hash, it was less of bit space used. How does that work when you encrypt something and you need to?
So just to answer your question, like how does encryption help with reducing the space taken? Oh,
Okay, let me expound. Maybe my question maybe might divert, but sorry, like I just want to understand how the security aspect has arisen to the security in less characters.
so that's basically the type of hashing you're doing. So so previously, like when you started out, there was no hash involved. So it was just your basic here. So it was just your basic hex, which is your data, and then you're just pushing it. That's like a 65 bit. But then again, when we brought in hashing, we reduced it to 32. So by hashing, it means you've reduced the number of bits that you're sending into the blockchain. That's more of the type of hashing you're doing. Any other question?
The address associated with your wallet change. Like if I send you my send some Bitcoin, like maybe I sent it 3 months ago, maybe
Yes. Let me answer you. So she's asking about if if I send you my address, my Bitcoin address today, does it mean if you send me like 3 months later to the same address, will I still receive Bitcoin? Yes. It's yes because your address is still linked to your wallet. But what we advise in the Bitcoin ecospace for privacy and anonymity, like every time, always generate a new address. Like there's some wallets which do that for you. So in generating new addresses, you're avoiding someone from tracing you. But if you're a business, especially for businesses, they usually advise to have like a randomized generation. Nowadays, we have things like QRs. So every time a customer is paying, there's a new QR. So today, let's say you used QRA, tomorrow a new address. Like that keeps your, it's hard to pin you into one address. I don't know if that answers you. And then we have various types of addresses. I don't know if I have the, I can try show you like how to generate various types of addresses and how different they vary. So let me fire up a Bitcoin Core wallet. add up on this other side. So this is a Bitcoin Core wallet. So I'm running it on Signet. So someone asked me a question earlier on how do you create a wallet? So I'm going to take you through that step. So once you fire up your Bitcoin Core wallet, you just click on create. Give the wallet a name. Let's call it NBO. So it's creating a wallet. And then since my wallet is new, I don't have any transactions. So as you can see, just like there's nothing. So we go to, you want to create a legacy wallet, a batch and a batch. Okay, I don't have the taproot address here. So I'll just do the P2 public key hash and a batch address. So we go to console. Then here I'll just do the get new address. And space. I think it's good. Oh, you can't see down here. So this is a testnet legacy wallet, legacy address. It looks something like this. So if you did this on a main network, you'll get, it starts with the 1. So that's a legacy address. So if it's a batch, which stands for multisig sometimes, so you'll do the same get new address. So this is a batch address, but now it's still on Signet. But let me just show you like the differences like on main network or on the mainnet. Sorry. But basically where I showed you like bitcoin.org, go download the Bitcoin Core. Then when you're firing it up, fire it up with a, okay, let me show you. You need to configure your, you call it the conf file, the Bitcoin conf file. So it's located here for the Linux people. So cd.bitcoin. Oh, sorry, this is Mac. It's usually under. let me try and find the path. Seems to be on the wrong path. Oh, the locate. Oh. So this is a basic Bitcoin conf file. There is where you configure. So if you want to run your wallet as a rectest, you input rectest, then you say equals 1. You can see here. Let me try and zoom. Is it visible at the back? Yeah, so in the conf file is where you define the type of network you're running, like what you want to receive on your Bitcoin node. So in my case, I'm running the rectest. So I put it as 1. If you're running main test, you usually say mainnet is equals to 1 in your conf file. And then the various RPC ports, for those who want to like do basic Bitcoin query, like RPC queries. So in your conf file, make sure you include those ports. So you have the RPC port, RPC server timeout, and then yeah, discovery if you have other nodes looking into it. For myself, I don't have a seeder, so I just put it 0. And yeah, but basically this is it. I think that's it on the Bitcoin transaction, the scripts and the addresses. Don't know if you have questions. Sorry? Yeah.
So now what happens? Like, what will you need to modify? Will you need to modify the binaries to be able to run it over the internet?
Like modify what exactly?
the binary address.
I don't get your question.
Okay, let me just ask, like, what will you need to modify so that you can have it connect, like, have that.
Ah, okay. So he's basically asking like, what should I change in this config to make it connect to the bigger network? So I'll just basically change my rectest to a mainnet, and then now should be connected to the broader Bitcoin network.
I started using the Bitcoin Core, whatever the demo in order to make the RPC directly to
So running Bitcoin has two phases. You can either go the shell way, which is the Bitcoin daemon, the Bitcoin D. But for me, I opted to go for the GUI, which is the Qt wallet. So the difference is one you're viewing, the other one you have to like use shell codes. So I just use the GUI to make things much simpler. Yeah. So GUI by default comes as a mainnet. So unless you use the config, it will always run as a mainnet, like straight out of the box. Any other questions? Sorry?
what's the difference between a wallet that starts with 0 and one that starts with 1?
0 and 1. Is the one with 0? I doubt. Mostly 1 or 3. So he's asking about the difference between the address numbers. So if your address starts with a 1, that's a legacy address or a paid public key hash. If it starts with a 3, that's a batch or a segwit address. Yeah. BCs? Oh, okay. Batch 32 is BC. Sorry for the contradiction. 3 is segwit. So that's the pay to script hash. Right? Yeah, pay to script hash. So I guess this marks the end of that. But now I open the floor for Q&A. So Scott, Ray, they're willing to take questions. General Bitcoin questions. So that tomorrow now we'll just focus fully on Lightning. So today is a Bitcoin day.
Remember, there's no question. You all have to learn. Don't be shy.
My question was like, I've seen how to use the GUI, but what if I want to like interact with using the shell, using the daemon,
Oh, the
using
daemon.
Bitcoin Core?
Okay. I can just show you. So, yes. So basically, I'll go to where my core is. Then I go to my bin. So if I ls this, you're able to see supposed to change first. So if you check this, you're seeing I have my Bitcoin CLI, I have my Qt, And then I have this is the daemon, the Bitcoin D. If I want to run Bitcoin D, what I do is just backslash. Oh, forgot T. Then here I say yeah, it's already logged since I ran my Qt. So let me close the Qt. So if I try again, so there you go. So now you're able to say Bitcoin CLI, they get blockchain info. So now you can interact with your Bitcoin. You see, the network I'm running on is Signet. So that's the basic daemon. Yeah. Any other question? In general, like what you didn't get? The current Bitcoins, what do you call it? The size, the current size is around 560 GB. So if you have a 1 TB, you can always run. But then the other option is you can run a pruned node, which has like 288 blocks, which is around 5 GB, depending. So if you needed to do a prune node, you still go to the config file, then you say pruned is equals 1. So when you fire up your wallet, it's much lighter. Yeah, I think he'll show.
So processes for running a lightning node or what? Oh yeah. Yeah.
Any other question?
Does the prune, you talk about the prune.
Yeah.
So does it involve the previous transaction or the recent transaction?
So a prune node usually contains recent transactions up to blocks 288, like 288 blocks. So that's how far back in history you can go, the prune node. But now with a full Bitcoin node, you can go all the way to the Genesis block. So the prune node limits you in how far you can access the history. Any other question?
Like the different types of addresses. Can you like send one type of address, say legacy to page to, is there like one entry receipt or you can send to one?
In terms of addresses, I think you can send to any address. So the catch here is how much fee do you want to pay? So if you're using a legacy address, you're deemed to pay higher fee than when you're using a segwit address. Do you have anything to add? Yeah, but you're not limited. So the latest addresses are called Batch 32M, which are taproot addresses.
I don't have a Taproot wallet, so that will be possible to showcase. But it starts with a T. Yeah. Yeah. Taro.
Then you wallet use terminals.
Yes. I think most wallets right now have implemented that. So most did a list of wallets that have already moved to batch 32M. If you have any. Let me see. No, but I'll expose my wallet, so let me not. Yeah? Nah, you'll know which wallet I'm using. So, any other question? Yeah? Yes. You can do, so in the CLI, if you say help,
It basically lists all the commands you need. So if you're sending to an address, this is the command you say.
you'll use, so Bitcoin send to address, your address, then the amount, then you have a message. What else? Yeah. So in case you want to know more about what Bitcoin CLI does, always throw in the help, and then you can see it's nicely broken down. So as you can see here, you're starting with the blockchain. So this contains everything about the blockchain. So you have the get block hash, get the block heights. Then there's the control. Like if you want to know about your gRPC info, for those who want to do APIs, then you have the generating. So if I want to generate a block, okay, I don't know if it's possible. Let me try. Now, but basically you can use CLI to generate. So let's say generate how many blocks? One. It's a gamble though. Yeah, I knew it's it's a dash. Yeah, okay, I got a block. So if I check my wallet, get wallet info. Not yet. I didn't get anything. Yeah. Oh, okay. So I mined 6. Then
I guess it's going to the default wallet.
yeah, that's what I wanna check. So let me get the list. You guys groupings. You have to load. I need to load, right? It's a hyphen load wallet. There's none. I'm sure there should be one. Okay, let me see. Saying it's already loaded. Meanwhile, you can be asking other questions as I solve on this.
Image.
Sorry?
Saying that it's running on main.
No, this is the right test.
So the other one is main, does it consume gas fee? Then let me just ask all of them. I didn't know that these were, because at times when you send someone Bitcoin, they got some starts with P, others with 1, and now T. So there are some advantages of other wallets over the others. At all circumstances, do we need to generate the different kinds of wallets?
So those are good questions. The first question is about gas fee. So in Bitcoin we don't use gas, we use sats. So it's sats per VByte. That's what you pay as a fee. And then in terms of wallet, so the reason you're seeing a T here is because I'm on testnet. So on our testnet environment, the address you get starts with a T to denote that you're running a testnet. So if by mistake you generated a testnet wallet and sent a Bitcoin, like to a Bitcoin person, and they sent there, that means your transaction is lost. So for the one addresses starting with 1, that's a legacy. So it's a pay to public key hash. And then the one starting with B, that's a batch. It's called a batch #2. And then any other? Oh, the multi-seeds starts with 3. Yeah. Yeah, if you're sending on mainnet, stick to mainnet. If you're sending on testnet, stick to testnet.
For Lightning purposes, only EC1 works, right? And Taproot.
Yeah, yeah, it has to be SegWit. And you sort of asked, like, what are the benefits of the different addresses? The one that comes to mind is the newer ones. Can't remember specifically which one, but probably the one that starts with a B. You can have multiple signers, right? So typically there's one private key that signs the transaction, whereas now with these newer addresses, you can have 3 people required to sign the address. So let's say it improves security, right? Like if you want, your mom or something to have to sign the transaction as well, so that let's say you're drunk or something and you don't want to accidentally send it out. You need a second signer to send. So that's the one. I mean, I'm sure there's other benefits, but that's the one that comes to mind. Yeah, I think you're right. That's what I said.
Are there any restrictions on using the Bitcoin live?
No.
Restrictions like you cannot make a transaction. And it's a final transaction, there's no way to. You can retrieve any tokens, you've banned them, so you can ban tokens directly on the maybe invalid request. So you need to take care of this when connected to the net.
Yeah, but it won't like.
Okay, so can you configure it to work with your other APIs?
Oh yeah, then the other thing, if you're burning your private key, you may need to use the scripts. So it's not just as simple as typing, oh, burn my private key. You may need to use the op verify and op return. Then what was the other one? There's a command they use, but you don't want to do that. Like you don't want to burn your private key since once you burn it, that's it. Forever cast in. Any other question? Now, for Bitcoin, it's more of transactionals. If you're not transacting anything, you're not getting charged anything. Otherwise, you can build a feature, test it. But mostly, they recommend the Signet. That's where most developers use. Like it's a rapid way of testing your Bitcoin feature before you push it to the mainnet. So the best way to do it is you start on Signet. Once the feature is working on Signet, move it to testnet. Once you're satisfied it's working on testnet, now you can try it now on main. Otherwise, you might end up losing your Bitcoins. Yes, non-valuable. So the reg test and the testnet, those are, the coins don't have value. But anyway, let me not go. That's gonna be a rabbit hole. But some miners who had the testnet coins, they somehow cash out on them. Not legally, but anyway. Yes, there are faucets to get testnet coins. Yeah.
I think it's a good question. So, does it matter what kind of storage I use whenever I want to set up a node? And also, what I mean, what kind of content will the node contain? And also, another question is still to do with the node that I'll remember it.
So how much space? I think you said 500, 600 gigs.
It takes about 600 gigs for the Bitcoin node. If you're running like the full node, yeah, about 600. You don't need anything necessarily special, but once we get into Lightning, there's more important things like you need uptime connected to the internet.
Right. So it changes once you get to Lightning, but the storage lot specifically, yeah, it's regular hard drive is fine.
When setting up a Lightning node, can you operate it with a Pro node?
Yes, you can. You can. I'm sure there's limitations to it. I can't think of it right now,
But I know for a fact you can. That's how, for example, some companies let you spin up a node on your phone, and your phone doesn't have that much space. So the Bitcoin node side of it, they'll do a prune node. So yeah, that's one example there.
For permitting a Bitcoin node, the resources for them, how much bandwidth do you need?
Good question. I would Google it. Because I don't know.
I guess. For the speed. So basically, you can run a full node with just a Pi. Like for me, I run a Bitcoin full node on Pi 3. So you're seeing the GB is like 1 GB, 1 gig. Then internet, you have if you have at least 4 GB, 4 MB, sorry, 4 MB, 4 Mbps. But then if you're syncing a full node with the 4
Mbps, it will take like, I don't know, that's a lot of time. But if you have like 20 Mbps, maybe a week or so, a week or two. So the block download is what's gonna be slow for you. So the slower your internet, the slower your block download. And the longer it takes for you to sync to the main blockchain. Yeah, sometimes they say that, but then there's someone over Twitter who did a pro node.
and then it was just kicking node like the blocks out until it remained. But they had faster internet. So you can specify the size of the prune node you need. If you need 5 GB, then it will automatically prune until you have 5 GB left. Like, yeah, it discards it.
Any other question?
If you're using a wallet that's connected to someone else's node, you're trusting them, right? So, is that answer?
In order to run node yourself, instead of downloading all of this from the internet, I take now the data from another miner, video of a USB, and now I start downloading on the internet block instead of the whole 600 GB.
Yeah, you can do that because once you fire up the Bitcoin core, okay, the issue with that, once you fire up the core wallet, it's gonna take time re-indexing because now it has to go through all these things that you pasted in your drive. And then in some instances, you might copy and then maybe one block is corrupt. Like it didn't copy, what do you call it? During copying, it missed a few bits. So you end up having a corrupt blockchain. And with that, you can't fully sync to the rest of the blockchain. So I had a note that I did that same thing. So every time I fired it up, it was stuck at block, right? Around 600. So anytime I fire it up, it's just stuck there. I leave it for like 2 weeks. It's not going anywhere. Since there are other corrupt block.dat inside the chain state. Any other question?
At the moment when running the Bitcoin on a single PC, you can decide to act as a verifier on the network to verify transaction. So is it profitable or you can talk of it as voluntary work?
I think running your wallet and your full node, you're just being a good Samaritan. So, but you're adding to the Bitcoin security in terms of verification. Any other one?
Somebody was asking right? You need to allow it to go to the block and then give this. There is also another option. So there is a snapshot on the internet I can download. has number of blocks. I think the height actually. So I think the last time I checked, it was till maybe January of last year. So you can download that, and then it will just start from there to download the remaining blocks for you. So that would be a lot easier.
Do you remember that site? I remember encountering the site.
Yeah, it is Bruno's today. So yeah, you can start here. And finally, I've gotten the route I was looking for. My goodness. Looks really. So let's try and explore the Bitcoin folder, like what it contains. So it might answer some of the questions you're asking. Ah, okay. Nice. So these are the folders containing the Bitcoin for Linux people, Bitcoin for Mac people. So you can see here they have a fee estimate that contains like the network's average fee for sending. And then we have the mempool.dat. This contains the transaction inputs, like all the transactions being dumped in the mempool. So that handles that. Then here's our Bitcoin conf. Here's where you do the Bitcoin configurations. And then we have the blocks. So if I ls into blocks, so basically this is what I was talking about, like the block. So if one of these gets corrupted while you're copying, it means your chain will, okay, your node will never fully sync. So you might have to do a hyphen reindex. So it's like it's basically like you'd rather download afresh than start from someone else's work. And then the wallet stores your wallet.dat. So if a hacker gets access to your machine and they know you're running a Bitcoin core, this is the place where they get your wallet at. I think mine is empty because I know that. But by default, if you create a wallet, it usually falls in the wallet. So if I check the Signet one, so you're seeing, so I have two stages. So whenever you're running a Signet, it also has the same. The chain state, the blocks, now these are Signet blocks, but now for the mainnet, still has the same. So Bitcoin is able to separate the networks as per what you're running. So if I was to do a testnet, I'll have a testnet folder, which has testnet blocks, testnet wallets. So if I check my Signet, ls wallets, there's my wallet, the NBU I created. So if I go to NBO, there we go. There goes my wallet. So if someone has a hold of this, I have my entire Bitcoin. And the beauty about, okay, let me not incite you. So I pause it at that. So we pause it at that. So any other questions? Yeah? No, I'll put people at risk, so let me not. Any other questions? So I hope you've understood like the Bitcoin bits in detail. If I've missed anything, shoot a question. We're here to clarify. Everything is good? So in that bit, I'll invite Maxley to talk a bit.
All right, we got one thing of homework tonight, very simple homework. And we'll pull it up on the screen, but if you could download a wallet called Blink, BLINK wallet. There's your Android and iOS store. It's a Lightning wallet, so come tomorrow with it installed, and we'll show you how these instant transfers can happen. We're also going to be going through the Blink APIs on Wednesday before the iOS API.
If you're curious enough, you can try and do a basic API. So the best solution, we'll see what you do. Yeah, I guess that marks the end of today's class. We'll pick up tomorrow. Kingsley, I think we'll talk tomorrow.
This is what the app looks like.
Go download it.
Let me just-
Okay.
That's the one. Blink wallet. All right, because there's a few blinks. There it is on the screen.
So this is the wallet. So this is what we shall be using. And then it will be the starters before I now take over the intro into APIs. Yeah, thank you for coming. You can clap for yourselves. Great. Do you have one last thing?
Yeah, I don't need the mic, but guys, everyone who comes for 3 days is gonna get a certificate at the end. 4 days, we'll have some surprises to make all 4 days, all right? Cool.
Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow. Kindly keep time. We start at 10 sharp. Yeah, I'll share the slides. I think there's a Telegram group. And he has, okay, we have your emails, so we're gonna share with you.
Are we all on it?
Yeah, kindly see Kingsley if you're not on Telegram. So have a good one. Yeah? Kingsley, let me be an Kingsley. Megasly. I'm doxing the guy. Awesome. was a good one. At least from this now.
Thanks, everybody.
Kesho najua vile tutapambana. Ready itakuwa dry run.
Kama seconds kwenye itakuwa depends on sasa kesho sitakuwa na